Alrighty, so what you're going to need to make one of these solar ovens is a roll of reflective tape, the aluminum repair tape that they sell for ductwork. It's about $7 at Walmart, $7.50. This is a sheet of corrugated plastic. It's about $11 at your local sign shop or plastic supplier. You can use cardboard, but when you put it on grass, it'll soak moisture up out of the thing and it will eventually wear out. With the plastic, it'll last for a long time. Like I said, for $5 an oven, it's pretty cheap. This is what you're making. Looks like this. Cooking area is right here. You can actually feel the heat coming off of this. So that's what we're doing. Alright, so we're going to make a mark on this side at 36 inches and a mark on this side at 36 inches. Okay, so you want to make a mark all the way across. We're going to use this clamped on when we use our knife, but the mark's good to have just so you know that you got it. I use two little clamps to hold it in place. That makes it easier to cut. The first time you go through, you're just trying to score it. You're not trying to cut all the way through. You'll get deeper each time. Make sure you keep it right up against your ruler. It has a tendency to wander a bit. Alright, there you go. So, you're going to need to make a pattern laid out on poster board. It lays out like this. That's printable. You can print that with a poster printer, or you can tile it. When you get it cut out, you end up with 3 pieces that look like this. They're labeled. They tell you which side they do. Right side top, left side top. Of course, you have to put the labeling on it yourself. So then we'll show you how to mark one. Okay, it helps if you have a second set of hands to help hold it while you're marking it. I found that a ballpoint pen does as good a job for marking as a Sharpie marker and doesn't smear quite as badly. Make sure where you have the little marks that say make mark that you actually do make a mark. The long skinny edge out here is harder to do than everything else put together, because you'll need those marks later to do your thing. So that's how you mark your bottom corner. You're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, and you do that with each piece. Top corner does the same thing. It's a little easier. You got 2 marks. You got one right there in the middle, and then you make another one at the point where it hits. Okay, the last thing you're going to do is mark the slit. You don't need to mark around the edge, you just need to mark the actual slit itself. And you should end up with a slit on either side looking like that. You'll flip it over to do the other side. Alright, so when you get done, you should end up with a shape that looks kind of like, I don't know, half of a Darth Vader TIE fighter there. And you should have both your slit marks marked. You need a mark here and a mark there so you can mark the center fold. You're going to need to make a center fold here, lines down, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so to make my fold marks, I use the edge of a pair of scissors. These safety scissors like they sell for cutting bandages. You can get them at Harbor Freight for $2. It's got a perfect edge for doing it. Any kind of dull round point would do it. Don't use something sharp. You're not really trying to cut it. You're just trying to score it. You're going to press hard and press right against your ruler. Go over it a couple times. Alright. That'll make your fold line there. You also need to do fold lines up on the top part. Alright, so then you also need to make your creases here. And right here, you're going from the point where the pattern made down to the other side. Now, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. You're going to make a fold crease right here. Okay, and then back over here to the others. Now, when you're doing the other side, you'll notice I was pulling towards me. Here you want to push away from you because the lines of the corrugation will push it back into the ruler if you're going in the same direction as them. If you're going opposite, they'll pull you away from your ruler. Now once you've made a crease, you can go back the other way to finish it, but you got to start in the same direction as your lines. Okay, so now we've got it cut out. We use the ruler along our score marks to make our creases so that we can fold this. Once you've creased them, they're pretty easy to do, but it helps if you have a ruler there when you make your first bend. Now we need to cut out our little grooves here for putting in the points so that this can fit in there. It's a good idea to have a piece of cardboard underneath so that you don't damage your table. You're going to want a box knife to do this. Scissors just don't work for this. You don't want it any wider than it was in the pattern because you want it a little tighter than the width of the actual cardboard or corrugated plastic that you're using, so that it's a tight fit, so that it can hold this flap at any angle. All right. So when you do it, you just basically take your box knife. Again, just like making the cut for cutting it down to the right size. Slow and steady. Don't try and go through it all at once. Cut your sides before you cut your ends. Once you have your sides all the way through, it's pretty easy just to poke it and do the ends. Okay, so once you get your things cut out, you should have a slot that the edges can go in. You're going to fold it up, bend your sides in. First couple times you do this, it's going to be a little bit uncooperative. Gets easier as you use it. You're going to tuck that in there. Tuck this side in here. And the first time you do it, to do your markings, you want to make sure it's as tight as you can get it. Then you're going to take your pen. We got chased in from outside. It started raining. So anyway, you're going to take your pen. You're going to mark across right here, so that you make a mark right there in that edge. You're going to make a mark right here, and then you're going to trace a mark right along here. And when you open it back up, you're going to see that you have marks that show where you don't want tape, because when you're putting it in, the tape will be in your way, and marks that show you where your tape should be centered. So we'll go with that. We'll show you how to put tape on. Okay, so now you need the printout that shows you what length tape pieces you need and where they go on the oven. We'll show you how to cut one here. Once you have the ruler, you're going to lay your tape down like this and roll it out to whatever the first measurement is. So like we need 6 at 14.5 inches. So you would roll that out to 14.5, and then you would just cut it right here. So you'd grab your scissors and you could just pick that up. Remember, it's not an exact science. It doesn't have to be perfect, so don't kill yourself trying to get it perfect. But you just cut your piece, and you do that for the number that you need of each type, and then you have a set of tapes. Okay, so the first one we're going to put on is the 19-inch piece that goes right here according to our pattern. We want to line it up with the fold over here, and we have this line right here that tells us where we don't want tape. We've got to mark that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Keep your little pieces, because you will find opportunities where you make mistakes that you can patch them with the pieces that are left over. Alright, so you're going to do that. You're going to fold the tip back and forth a couple times until the edge pops up. It's easier said than done sometimes. It will come up, I promise. Helps to have your fingernails a little bit longer. So if I look like I have really long fingernails, it's because I'm making about 24 of these ovens right now. So you're going to peel back about 1 inch, and that'll curl the stuff a little bit. Cut off the bottom piece so that you have the sticky part exposed. Then you line it up where it goes with your edge there, and then stick that piece down. You'll notice that I cut it so that it lines right up with that line where I don't want tape. Then you're going to fold it back, grab your edge, and then you just work it out a little bit at a time, making sure to keep your foil straight. If you let your foil flip back up like it says on the instructions, you'll get weird little creases. So maybe I'll show you what that does at the end here. So if you let it flip over and you're pulling it this way, then it'll give you these little creases like that, which are not what you want. So just kind of keep it going. If you do get a wrinkle, like I just got there, fabulous. Doesn't make that big a difference. It's not going to affect anything. Smooth it down so that it's tight. And that's how you put one on. We're going to show you how to do a middle one. Okay, I'm going to cut off about 1 inch again here. Basically what that lets me do on these middle ones, all you have to do is line it up in the middle, cover both edges, and you're good. Put your piece down, flip it up, grab your edge, peel it back a little ways, make sure you're lined up with your edge, smooth it down, line up with your edge, smooth it down. There's a little bit of, don't ever peel. If it doesn't stick where you want it, just keep going. It's better to use another piece of tape. If you try and peel it, you're just going to make a mess. You get your middle piece laying across your two lines. These lines aren't critical that there not be any tape past it, not like the corners, but it just helps you line it up in the middle where you need it to be. So there you go. Other than that, it's just cutting the pieces and putting them on where it says they go. One thing to keep in mind is the piece that goes right here is better if you put it on after you do the pieces up here, because it'll cover the edges and help keep them down. Any place where you have the option of covering the edges of another piece of tape, that's good. So I usually do the side wings first, and then I do this middle, and then I'll actually start and go down from here down to the bottom. The only other one that's got, excuse me, that has a little bit of oddity is when you do the one that covers here, you'll have a little bit of edge that comes up. Just use your knife and cut out a hole for the slot, and go from there.
I don't know where they are.
Okay, so when you do one that goes off the edge, basically you just take your little knife, fold that up, hold the knife at an angle, and trim along the edge. Like so, smooth it down, and you're done. Very simple. The other thing you need to do is when you have this right here, you can press it and find out where the end is. You're going to want to cut just deep enough to go through your foil. Like so. And then use your knife, pick it up, and peel it back, and voila, you now have your thing exposed. So on the ones that are where you're not supposed to have any tape, like this one up here, you'll have to trim them, or for the slots down here you'll have to trim those to match. But when you're going off the edge, you can just run it right off the edge and then trim the edge. Alright, so there you go. All taped, ready to go. And you just fold it together. And voila. Solar oven.